Well, hello, beautiful spirits. It is I, your favorite whimsical oracle, here to deliver the predictions for June 2026. If you're new to this channel, welcome. I am Whimsy, Dr. Whimsy Anderson, naturopathic doctor extraordinaire, and I am also a remote viewer and a tarot card reader, believe it or not. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about what is coming up for you, me, and the world in 2026. Now, a lot of people are worried about everything that's going on in the world, from the escalation of the war that's taking place in Ukraine and Iran. People are worried that the war is going to expand. People are very worried that NATO is now about to enter the war because there was a bombing that happened recently. I think, if not, I'm not mistaken, Russia hit Romania, if I'm not. And some of the NATO states are being threatened. Do they want to enter the war? Would that mean, or are they wary, rightly so, of entering that war? Economically, things are very difficult right now as soaring prices in food, rent, etc. People are very worried about inflation. The job market has been not too horrible, but not that great either. We're seeing about between 4 and 5% unemployment in the United States, with only about 2% GDP growth. And some people would argue that the United States is bankrupted. The Middle East is rather sad right now. As many of you know, war continues in the Middle East, and gosh darn it, things are just looking terrible everywhere you look. But the good news is you still have a beautiful heart, and you are still trying to do beautiful things with the world, rescuing animals, planting flowers to attract the fairy kingdom and to help the ecosystem, reducing animal products. I'm not saying you have to give it up altogether, but adding more fresh fruits and vegetables to your diet if you're struggling financially. If you have a little plot of land, I've got 6 feet. I've got my terrace. I'm growing collard greens, kale, lettuce on my 6-foot garden. I'm thinking about getting those Christmas tree trellis things. What do you think? So you can grow all kinds of things. I think that's rather exciting. I like to buy vegetables. I also have a tomato plant. It's getting huge, which is very exciting. I like to get those. I like to buy things. Vegetables at the market and then collect the seeds and grow things from the seeds. That's my little fun, weird hobby. I've got 2 avocado plants that are growing out there. I've got a ton of dragon fruit. Boy, that stuff went crazy. If anybody wants dragon fruit and you're in Portland, I got your dragon fruit. Now I'm moving on to pomegranates. I just planted a bunch of pomegranates from a pomegranate I grew. The options are endless. All right, without further ado, we're going to go ahead. We're going to do the empath prayer. And of course, we want to hear what you're doing to take care of yourself as we live in challenging times. Not just take care of your physical body, but your mental and spiritual body as well. And we want to know what you're doing to share your goodness and serve the world. Because one of the main reasons we're here is not just to learn lessons. It is a classroom, but we are here to serve the world, to serve Gaia, to serve the planet in ways that make us all happier, including the animal kingdom. All right, without further ado, for those of you who know the prayer, feel free to say it with me. Let's come together and let's do the empath's prayer. You know the prayer. Okay. I want to call on white light protection for myself and this community as we ask permission from Spirit to access the Akashic records. We call on our spirit guides and our good angels to be with us. Please give us the clarity and the wisdom that is needed to empower all of us on our journeys to make the best decisions for ourselves, our families, the planet, the people we love, but also to help those that we may have strife with. And together collectively as a community, we say, Amen. All right, so we're going to go ahead and use this beautiful version of the Rider-Waite, which I picked up while I was in beautiful Cardiff, Wales. I was in Cardiff, Wales on vacation a couple weeks ago, and I had forgotten my tarot cards. And I was assured by the people of Cardiff that if I walked 1 or 2 feet in any direction, I would find a deck of tarot cards. It is a mystical, magical place where witches, fairies, and angels are welcomed. All right. First thing we're going to be looking at is we're going to be looking at global events to see what is happening in terms of war. Are we facing war? Should we be worried about war? Let's have a look. I'd like to know if the war in Ukraine is starting to wind down. Putin says it's winding down. It certainly doesn't look like that. He has been hitting Kyiv heavily, and of course, Medvedev, is that his name, is talking about going to war with the West. All right, here's our setup. Let's take a look at what we have here, and the base of the matter is war. War, people, war. And that is the King of Wands. When we think about the King of Wands, we think about the King of Wands as war. It is a card that has to do with war. If you take a good look at the King of Wands, you'll see that the King of Wands is associated with Mars, fire, and action. When we think about wands, there's 2 things you want to be thinking about if you're learning the card chart. And that is that wands are associated with the realms of time and space. Time and space. And that's because wood grows. It is the one suit in the tarot that is alive, is wood. We can slice a tree and we can see a tree ring when we look at the inside of a tree. And those tree rings give us a time stamp. They tell us what has happened in the past. When people go to buy a plot of land, they will often cut a tree down and they will look at the tree rings to find out how the land did over time. Is this a good purchase for me? Was there adequate rain? Did it experience much droughts? So, unfortunately, the King of Wands is associated with time and space, but also you have to take into consideration when you're thinking about space, taking over somebody else's space. So the problem with the King of Wands, it's also often an entrepreneur as well, but excuse me, the King of Wands often wants to take over the space of others. You know, that Mars energy, my way or the highway, my space, boom, boom, smacking that wand down. So we could be seeing, and that's also, by the way, heavily ego-driven. The King of Wands is heavily ego-driven. And so we will often see that need for pushing back and my space with the King of Wands. The karma card at this time is the Knight of Pentacles. Knight of Pentacles is in the suit of Pentacles, which is closely associated with Earth. So we have the fire sign and we have the Earth sign. This would the other interesting thing about the Knight of Wands is that not only is it associated with like Capricorn energy and Taurus energy, Virgo, this Earth sign energy, but as you can see, unlike other knights, the Knight of Wands is not moving. It is still, it's that Clydesdale heavy foot that refuses to move and instead is in a holding position. So our karma could be for the month of June that things are moving very, very slowly. The good news is that it's also heavily focused on banking, money, and the things of this world. So pentacles are of this world, or we say they are heavily associated with the earth sign. So it's interesting. In Chinese medicine, you think about the wands as the wood and the fire. And when you think about pentacles from a Chinese medical, if you're looking at the five element theory of Chinese medicine, pentacles are associated with earth. And the crossing card at this time again is war, Knight of Wands. One of the interesting things about the Knight of Wands, and we can go into this quite a bit, is that the Knight of Wands is associated with this idea of movement, unlike the, actually, pardon me, that was straight up, it was not the crossing. This is my karma card, this is my base. The card under the base is the card of karma. Many readers don't use a base or a karma card, I use both. So the first house is the Knight of Wands, and that would indicate, unfortunately, that we could see an escalation of war. We could see an escalation of war in Iran. This doesn't surprise me because it doesn't surprise me because there really is no resolution for the war in Iran if the mullahs aren't removed. Western perspective, they will continue to fund terrorism globally, and we will never have stability in the Middle East. And many countries in the Middle East who are part of the growing Abraham Accords, where all the countries of the Middle East sign a peace agreement to open up trade, United Arab Emirates, Israel, Jordan wants to be a part of it, Bahrain, Morocco is coming into that agreement. India wants to be a part of the Abraham Accords, which is kind of interesting. But many, many countries now in the Middle East want to be a part of this new trade route. And Iran will block and do everything in its power as an ally of Russia not to be a part of that trade route and to block that trade route. This is why they built up their forces, Lebanon and Hezbollah, to bring in the new caliphate and the new trade route that was going to be controlled by Iran. And the goal was that Iran would take over the world. So it created great instability in the Middle East, frightening the Middle East. Saudi Arabia got bombed. Qatar got bombed. Kuwait got bombed by Iran. So all these countries, rightly so, are terrified about what is going on in Iran. And there really was no other option. Probably, if we're thinking about opening up that trade route, which includes the Strait of Hormuz, I don't think war is avoidable. Unfortunately, it may not be what people want to hear, and I'll probably get a down thumb. I don't make the news. I don't create the news. I'm just reading the cards. And the Knight of Wands is a war knight, and it goes forward aggressively and it fights. A new beginning is starting. Interesting, this card is associated with Archangel Uriel, and he paves a new road. Go forward, young man. Go forward and build something new for yourself. And so we're looking at possibly new conflicts starting to emerge, not just in the Middle East, but possibly new conflicts starting to emerge as well in other parts of the world. This is because when we have a new project, when something new is starting to happen, you'll often get a page of wands coming in. Page of Wands signifies that new beginnings are afoot. New beginnings are afoot. The fact that it's crossing over the issue of war leads me to suspect that the new thing that is afoot is war. What is above us is Two of Swords. Unfortunately, again, this is a problem because Two of Swords can be a stalemate. So not only are we looking at potentially new conflicts, slow, steady, slogging forward, getting bogged down by this worn conflict, it could have a negative impact on our trade routes, and that means the supply chain. And with a Two of Swords moving into the base matter, that also could be a problem because um, that indicates that it could be a slow grind, that people are incapable of communicating with one another. If people are incapable of communicating with each other, if people are not talking to one another, then this could go on for some time. What we're sitting in at this also at this time, which is actually good, is mastery. Experts and masters attempting to figure out what needs to be done in order to resolve the conflict. Could be also the masters of war, but we have the brainiacs and the intellectuals and the masters coming in over the issues. What is happening in the past is the King of Cups. So in the past, we have the Queen of Cups. Queen of Cups is associated with dreaming. It's associated with the element of water. And it can be a time of dreaming, love, and imagination, a time of creativity. She rubs her lamp. She dreams. She dreams of what could have been, what should have been. She has one foot in the water, in the land of dream and magic. It could also, in its dark aspect, be somebody who has simply broken with reality. They have simply gone off into their own world and dreamed their life away. This of all of the cards, the one that is most likely associated with risk, for example, for alcoholism, would be the woman that is in her cups. If you're a woman and you're struggling as the Queen of Cups, you may find yourself attracted to drugs and alcohol because of this need to escape into the dream realm. And our near future is a thief attempting to flee. I think there's a real possibility that we could see flight. We could see this desire to escape, this desire to run and flee. Perhaps it's because it could be because we're talking about a time when there's war and people are just trying to escape war. It could also be that the people who are in positions of power are escaping their justice. You know what I mean? If people are going after Putin, if trying to get a better visual on this. If people are going after Putin, and if people are going after the mullahs, then we could start to see that some of them are escaping. That this is what happened when Assad fell out of Syria. Is we had this fleeing of people that were associated with the Assad regime. Sorry, I'm not getting this as focused as I would like. This is also a card that has to do with confusion or delusion or pipe dreams. It was associated with smoking opium when it was originally created. And again, it could indicate a kind of delusion or a feeling that the powers that be, those in charge, like Putin, for example, could be not entirely in their right minds. There have been rumors, get this over here. There have been rumors for some time, actually, about Vladimir Putin that he may, in fact, have a drug and alcohol problem. But specifically, the accusations against Putin were that he was a heroin addict, that he had, when they had been pouring heroin into West Berlin from East Berlin, coming in from Afghanistan during the Russian occupation of Afghanistan, that was the first business that Putin got involved with, was drug dealing, and that he himself had developed an addiction. This is one of the rumors going around. So Seven of Cups harkens back to the time of opium. Heroin was the leading addiction in the United States in the 20s and 30s because Bayer aspirin had released it onto the market, and it was legal to pick up at your local drugstore. So people were shooting up all over the United States, and the end result was a horrible heroin addiction problem in the United States. But this could be delusion. So we have a lot of energy here about war and delusion. War and delusion. The House of Opposition, again, remember what we had said about wands. Wands are about territory, space, fighting for space. You'll often see this kind of imagery in a wand where they're fighting back to take territory. And who's going to get the territory? I'm sorry to say I see an escalation of war and confusion in the month of June. The hope and fear at this time, and again, territory, you see, being crouched, losing his territory, defending his territory, feeling like he's holed up in his fortress, trying to defend himself from the outside world. So again, these are images of fighting for space. Your space is my space. My space. I'm going to take your space too. And this kind of fighting to defend the space here again would denote the possibility that war is going to escalate. And I'm sorry to say, it's not looking too good. Knight of Swords, charge, on guard, that violent, angry wind. This is air energy, but specifically it's when air goes crazy. It's when the wind gets whipped up into this violent energy of attack, blood. It's the blood curdling fight of the bull. And I just heard the strangest noise. Oh, I don't know what that was. It's that blood curdling, it's the heat of the battle when it's all out war and violence. So what do I think's going on? I think it's the fall of the Eastern Alliance. I think that what we're looking at here is the fall of Putin and the fall of the Eastern Alliance. That would be the relationship between Iran and Russia. And the fall of the mullahs would not be bad for Iran or Russia, because they would still enjoy trade in the Black Sea. There would still be good trade between Turkey, Russia, and Iran through the Caspian and Black Seas. In fact, it would probably be better. The difference is that the new Iran would not be funding terrorism. And so for that reason, even though war is inevitable, and even though we will probably see an escalation of the war, we're not going to see the war ending, and we're not going to see war coming to an end. In fact, quite the opposite. I would predict that what we're looking at is an escalation of the war. Over the next couple months, justice is coming. Again, this is a feeling that this, in a way, had to happen. If Putin is threatening the world, if he's first Ukraine and then the rest of the West, and the lights of Moscow will shine on the entire world, the lights of Moscow will shine on the entire world. If that is where his head is at, the West has no option but to fight, because he's threatening everybody else. Again, foolish behavior stands in the House of Opposition. Had he played his cards right, had he been less aggressive, had he tried to cooperate and work with the West, he and his country would be in a much better situation. You can see justice moving in against the Fool. And the hopes and fears at this time, a heavy load or a heavy burden lay ahead. And the final outcome for the month of June is economic stability and peace reigns. The Nine of Pentacles is financial confidence, and it could be stability financially as the trade routes become stable. It's honestly what I think is going to happen because of how the month of June ends. I think we will have to see the fall of Putin and the fall of the mullahs in Iran before we get to the Nine of Pentacles. I'm going to go ahead and do some clarifications. All right, so this next card reading is going to be a 4-card blitz. 4-card blitz corresponds to the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th of a Celtic cross. So I'm just going to look at your finances for 2026, your financial picture for 2026. How are we going to be doing financially in 2026? And the first card is 10 of Swords. People are really struggling. I don't know how it is in Australia or Britain or other countries in the EU in the West. I know Russia is struggling. Here in the United States, food prices are up as much as a third. Meat prices, for example. But 10 of Swords can be a feeling of being stabbed in the back, laid low, devastated. People are in their cars. People were struggling before the food prices exploded. And now, unfortunately, we're in the time of the 10 of Swords where people feel that they really cannot go on. Of course, housing prices are also more than most people can pay. So it's a difficult time for most Americans. We're seeing a lot of homelessness and a lot of drug addiction as well. More homelessness than I ever saw as a child. I don't remember hordes of people hanging outside Safeway asking for money. I just don't remember that. I'm in Portland, Oregon, and most major cities, the homeless rate has exploded and the drug addictions exploded way beyond anything that I saw in the 70s when I was growing up, you know. And much hard work will have to happen, you know. So the House of Opposition is 10 of Wands. All of us must do our best to work hard and to be disciplined over our lives, to live dramatically below our means if we can, to find out that thing it is you are called to master and move forward to master it. Do not allow yourself to be bogged down by gossip or what some call the noise. Recognize the difference between the signal and the noise. The signal are those messages and those things you need to do in order to master your skills of service in the world and to go forward. You should single-mindedly pursue your goals and pursue mastery and not allow yourself to be bogged down by things that will be harmful to you and others. It is a waste of time to sit around listening to gloom and doom unless it's going to empower you. If it's going to empower you, then that's fine. But right now we are being called to action, that each of us has work to do in the world. And if we are being bogged down by the things that others are doing, and it's one thing to be educated about what's going on in the world and be motivated to do something about it. It's another thing to waste our lives just being taken up by depression and anxiety, doom scrolling, as they say. So the House of Opposition for us is that we carry a heavy burden. We may feel devastated by everything that's going on in the world, but we also need to take personal accountability and do everything we can to take control of our lives and to stay focused about the work we're supposed to be doing in the world. And there you have it. Your hope and fear is mastery. Mastery over your skills. Remember, the Eight of Pentacles is associated with perfection, that we are always evolving towards perfection in our career, in our work, in our goals in life. You know, my goal is to be a great violinist one day. And so every day I slog away. I don't put in 4 hours. I admire anyone who puts in 4 hours in the violin. I put in about half an hour to 45 minutes a day into the violin. So it's going to be a slow slog indeed. But all of that is good for your soul. It is good to keep pursuing mastery. It isn't just about mastering a particular skill. If you're an artist, a musician, a healer, a server, someone who serves, whatever it is that you are called to do in this lifetime, continually work towards mastery. Remember what Dale Carnegie said about the 3 stools of a successful business, right? Number 1, be the best, right? Be the best you can be at what you do. Continually master those skills. This is going to protect you, whether it's from artificial intelligence or anything else. You want to be your best. And that is what the Eight of Pentacles is about. It is understanding that you and I have a finite amount of time that we're going to be here on earth. And so we must forever be putting that time into, I must not fritter my life away. I must not fritter my mission in life away. I must forever be working, chipping away slowly at the goal of mastery, not allowing myself to be taken up by the noise, by the gossip. This girl said that, and this boy said that. All of that is noise, and it must be removed from you, and instead focus on the signal. Those things that are going to help you master yourself and master your gifts in the world. You are here to learn, but you are also here to serve. And that is all part of the Eight of Pentacles. He, she, they is always learning, always taking in data and not allowing themselves to be bogged down by silly things like gossip and petty concerns that will not help them master what it is they're supposed to do in the world. And the final outcome for us is the sun is coming out. So even though we will see an escalation probably of the wars in Ukraine, in Europe, and in the Middle East, I do feel that by the end of June, these conflicts will probably be coming to an end, because the final outcome appears to be economic stability and some kind of positivity that is emerging after the fact. And so for that reason, I'm thinking that we are going to be seeing these conflicts winding down by the end of June. And it's also a time when we have to keep our wits about us. Take care of your mental health and take care of your acuity at this time. Do not engage in foolish behavior. Remember, when somebody, don't be the big mouth bass that bites at everything. When your detractors are coming at you, attacking you, saying things to you to try and get you upset, be aware that that is what can pull you into that state of Ten of Swords. Do what you can to avoid conflict with others, with family members. Remove yourself from those things, and instead focus on those things you need to focus on that are going to get you where you need to go. The house of opposition is the King of Swords and the heavy load. That can be a lack of empathy and a lack of discipline. Start with empathy towards yourself and move towards discipline. The hope and fear at this time is the High Priestess. Again, that would be a mastery card. The high priestess is always looking for that which is hidden, the hidden knowledge. And for that reason, it's interesting to see her there over mastery, and would again be calling you to focus on those things you need to do in order to master yourself. I see peace probably by the end of June. We're moving definitely towards peace because King of Cups is the peacemaker. He is the bridge over troubled water. Literally, you can see he is sitting on the troubled waters and he is offering the peace cup. And so we think about that song, like a bridge over troubled water, I will lay me down. We also see it when the sun is high in July, August. We're seeing the peace train coming, peace train moving louder. So we'll see an escalation in June. We'll see a lot of aggression, possible violence, and an escalation sometime around mid to late June. And then by July, we start to see ourselves moving towards peace and probably economic stability. That's how I would interpret these cards. Okay, there you have it. Those are my predictions for June. We will see, unfortunately, an escalation of war and then moving towards peace and financial stability, probably sometime around the 3rd to the 4th week of June. And I hope that gives you some clarity as you move through this month. Take care of yourself. You are advised to build a strong house like the third little piggy and not get bogged down too much by doom and gloom. Understand that this too shall pass. And the best thing you can do to survive all of the crazy right now is to tend your own garden, to tend your own profession, to do everything in your power to be the best expression of yourself. Hunker down. This will pass. And know that, just follow Dale Carnegie. Have the best, the 3 stools, have the best, be the best you can be at what you do. Number 2, be a good communicator. Communicate with those people who you feel you can give service to. That is the second leg of the stool. And the third is to get your product out quickly and effectively. Keep those trains moving. Okay, those are the 3 stools you're going to be working on this month. Number 1, be the best you can be. Get focused. What do you need to do in order to master yourself? What are you doing to take care of your physical health? Have you dedicated yourself to your physical mastery? Are you exercising? Have you removed sugar and processed food? I just found out that Sophia Loren swears that she's 91 and healthy because of pasta and calisthenics. And I thought, okay, well, that's pretty cool. Just make sure it's healthy pasta. Go with the egg noodle. If you're going vegan, though, you might want to go with the whole wheat noodle. You want to watch that glycemic index, have it al dente, and always make sure you pair it with a good protein. But anyway, point is this. I had a pushback when I told people to eat right and that they might have to give up their pasta. I had pasta last night because I noticed I still had some in the fridge. But take care of your physical health is what I'm saying. So number 1, you are mastering yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, and you are focusing on one thing. The universe only wants you to master one thing. If you want to take on more than that, that's great. You have a physical body and you have a moral responsibility to take care of it. Get rid of the junk food out of your home. It doesn't belong there. Don't abuse yourself. We can scream and yell about others abusing us while we are doing most of the damage ourselves. Do not put harmful things in your body. Get out and move and breathe. Learn how to breathe. So again, number 1, be your best. Be your best version of yourself. Take care of yourself and work hard to master a skill. Choose one thing. Number 2, be a good communicator. Find your market. Find those people who are going to benefit from your work in the world. You are the best at what you do. Who is going to benefit? Make that connection. Know who your customer is. Know who your customer is. It's also true in your love life. Know who your customer is. Know who you're the best partner for. Who can I love the most? Who needs me the most as a partner, as a wife, as a husband, as a lover, as a friend? Who's the person that's really going to benefit from having me in their boudoir, right? So when we start thinking like that, it helps us frame our life better. We're taking care of our physical, mental, and spiritual body. We are mastering a skill. I want to be the best, I want to be the best naturopathic doctor, physician I can be, the best medical empath I can be. I want to be the most moral, the most ethical. I want this channel to be an uplifting place for people to come and feel better. And if you want to master another thing, that's fine, but that's my main goal. And my second goal is I'd like to develop myself musically, right? And my third goal is to try and get to my customers in a timely manner. Chuck is very good about that. Within a couple of hours of us getting a call, we can usually get back to our patients. That third stall, getting the herbs out to patients as quickly as I can. When a patient needs medicines, I try to get those out as quickly as possible. Or as Dale Carnegie liked to say, I like to keep those trains moving, right? All right, that is your reading. Okay, if you're trying to see me, if you need a medical intuitive reading or just general life coaching, a tarot card session with me, you can find all that information below this video, Dr. Whimsy Anderson. You can also find me on Booksy. All right, be kind to all so that all will be kind to you too. God bless, peace out, and we will see you next time, everybody. Thank you so much for everything. Much love, much appreciation. Bye.